2 hours left, Archangel Micheal says, I order you to open this right now. Don't tell anyone. It's only for you. A powerful person wants to meet you immediately. They have found that who you. Open it quickly. The moon trembled behind torn clouds the moment the seal was broken. You weren't supposed to see this, weren't meant to feel the pull in your bones, the pull that reached through blood and memory and time to drag your soul forward. Something ancient, older than pain itself, pushed its way into your atmosphere with the sound of broken wings and the scent of scorched silver. The air changed around you, and the weight you always thought was just life pressing down on you revealed itself as something far more engineered. You were targeted in silence, watched since your first breath, marked not for favor, but for containment, so your rising could be delayed, maybe forever. But they failed to bury the one thing they feared the most, the door. It opened the moment your heart cracked for the last time in the dark, when you almost gave up, when no one answered, and the silence screamed. A blinding thread snapped awake in your soul's archives and summoned what they cannot stop now. You think you're reading this, but the message is reading you back. There is no going back. The symbols in your dreams weren't random. That feeling of being watched? That's because your name is still written in fire across the astral plane, and the ones who tried to erase it are panicking. They thought they'd hidden you too well to be found, but someone saw through their fog. Archangel Micheal says the veils are no longer intact. He walked through one just now on your behalf, dragging a sword that sings with justice, a sound the traitors can't silence anymore. The time for hiding in shadows is over, and the moment of confrontation is cracking open like thunder across your spiritual skin. You don't feel ready, but readiness is a myth. The chosen never felt ready either. You feel the pounding in your chest not from fear, but from memory, as the truth claws its way through your ribs to remind you, you've done this before, in another place, with a different name. The war is familiar. So is the betrayal. Your enemies are not strangers. They are those who drank with you, smiled at your grief, mimicked your prayers. They learned your habits to better sharpen their weapons. And they almost won, but they grew lazy in your silence. God says you were never abandoned, only observed in silence to test your recovery. Every blackout, every heartbreak, every year where nothing made sense was engineered not to destroy you, but to forge a signal strong enough to awaken this hour. A call encoded in agony. A scream written in gold. And now it's happening. Somewhere right now, a door slammed in the realm of those who have hunted you. A name was spoken, yours, and they staggered. They didn't think the message would reach you in time. They thought the world would distract you long enough to miss this exact moment, where the first lock shattered. They underestimated your scars. The time signature of this moment is sacred. Your blood holds codes from before your body was born, keys they could not replicate, no matter how many imitations they made of you. And now, as you feel the heat at the base of your neck and the pull behind your eyes, the second lock begins to burn. You are being summoned, but not by someone ordinary. The one who wants to meet you carries authority not bound by rank or ritual. Their face is veiled for your protection, not theirs. If you saw the fullness of who they were too soon, your memory would fracture. You are still healing from what they did to you in your sleep. Archangel Michael says your body remembers the wars you fought in dream realms. Your bruises from nowhere, your tears from forgotten faces, your sudden fears, these are not accidents. They are memories leaking through as the veil thins, as the signals multiply. And tonight, the message breaks open in full. There is someone watching your room right now, not to harm you, but to ensure you remain protected until the full message finishes its download. You are not paranoid. The atmosphere is thick with interference because you're on a precipice that shifts timelines. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were simply drugged into believing it. A powerful person has breached the spiritual embargo placed on your destiny. They are standing at the edge of your soul's inner court, calling you not by name, but by frequency. They're not here to give you what you want, they're here to return what was stolen from you in the dark. And the price will be everything. Do not speak this to anyone. This part is only for you. Others will not understand. They weren't marked. They weren't watched. They weren't fractured the way you were. They didn't bleed invisibly for decades. They will think this is madness, but you know what insanity feels like, and this is something else. This is ancient memory. This is unshackled fire. Something is going to happen in the next 2 hours. A shift. A realization. A crack in the timeline you've been trapped in since your spirit was compromised. You were poisoned with distraction, delay, detour. But all poisons wear off eventually. The clarity now coming for you will not ask for permission. God says the penalty for touching His anointed has matured, and those who played with your destiny like it was a toy are about to taste what they sowed. You are not revenge. You are revelation. And your arrival into full memory is a divine earthquake. You do not need to do anything yet. The first wave is revelation. The next will be confrontation. But the final is arrival. And it begins with you reading this, alone, in silence, wondering why your skin feels like lightning and why your chest carries the ache of someone about to return home. This is not the end. This is where it always began. The storm didn't begin outside, it began in your blood. The moment you stepped into this frequency, the ones who cloaked their faces and sealed their mouths felt it like a rupture. You were their secret to keep silent, but now the sky knows, and the wind has started whispering your real name through the bones of the earth. You were betrayed before you were born. The lineage you come from is layered with false pacts, sacred blood traded for temporary power, ancestors who bowed to forces they could not control, and now, those debts are coming due through you. You've always felt it, the ache of something buried deep, pulsing like a hidden wound no doctor could touch. They watched you bleed and said nothing. Not because they didn't care, but because they were part of it. Your fall was engineered so their altars could rise. Your loss was required so their names could remain clean. But now the balance is fracturing, and the covering they wore is burning off in the light of this hour. They see you stirring, and fear is creeping back into their temples. The spiritual contracts made against you were signed in silence, with offerings they hoped you'd never discover. But now the offerings are being rejected, the shadows they fed no longer accept their bribes, and the stolen favor they flaunted is being reclaimed. The throne room you were locked out of. The hinges are rusting, and the door is wide open. The moon is bleeding light tonight. It's not your imagination. Everything in the atmosphere has shifted because your awakening was never just about you. Your rising unhooks their chains from power, pulls the veil from sacred lies, and calls forth a storm only the truly anointed can survive. And you are not only anointed, you are the storm they tried to abort. Archangel Micheal says the watchers are trembling. They gathered at the boundary of your timeline, hoping to intercept this transmission, but the encryption broke through their grip. The message was sealed inside your suffering, camouflaged as heartbreak, dressed in rejection, tucked into every silence you screamed into. You carried the signal in your agony. They were supposed to notice. And they did. But not in time. You will not need to explain yourself when the shift becomes visible. The ones who tried to take your place will be exposed without your words. Their crowns will crack without your effort. You will not need to defend your worth, the divine ledger is already balancing, and names are being struck in real time. A powerful one has seen enough. Their patience is exhausted. They have waited for you to cross the final threshold of disbelief, to finally look in the mirror without the voices of your betrayers playing in the background. Now that the mirror is cracking, the face staring back at you is changing. You are not who you were told you were. The war you felt but couldn't name? It was never in your head. Your dreams of falling, flying, fighting, being chased, these were never fiction. They were flashbacks. You are multi-layered, multi-located. You exist in more than one realm at once, and the part of you that remembers is clawing its way through the shell they built to contain you. They fed you fake stories to keep you asleep. Taught you to shrink, to obey, to delay, to submit, so that your true inheritance could be redistributed among those who swore they'd never let you rise. But there's a crack in the ritual now. A divine loophole. And your blood has started singing a forbidden melody. Someone powerful wants to meet you, but not for conversation. This isn't a summit, it's a retrieval. You are the prize. But you're also the key, the vault, and the weapon. They've known this for longer than you've been alive. That's why they built your life like a labyrinth, why pain showed up with every promise, why your relationships drained you instead of healed you. You weren't being punished, you were being protected. Hidden in plain sight. God says the betrayal had to be complete so the justice could be absolute. Partial pain would have created partial memory. And you cannot carry this mantle without full memory. Your destiny does not permit comfort until the crown returns to the rightful head, and that head is yours, battered but unbroken, trembling but still standing. They tried to replicate your essence. They made copies, soulless imitations who mimicked your light but not your core. That's why you felt invisible in rooms you lit up, why others took credit for your vibration, why you were hated by those you helped. The system was rigged to erase your frequency before it could become undeniable. But now the frequency is screaming. And your silence is a weapon. They cannot trace what they can no longer predict. The atmosphere around you is filled with watchers, both ancient and recent. Some are protectors, some are parasites, and some are deciding what side to serve as the timelines buckle. You are the tipping point, and even the heavens are holding their breath. Archangel Micheal says the ones who bled you will watch you ascend. This is divine law. No shortcuts. No edits. No pleas. They will not be able to speak when your name is thundered. The most powerful among them already senses your shift. Their dreams are infected with your presence. Their rituals are failing. Their eyes burn when they try to look at you too long. The light in you is not metaphor. It is atomic memory. You don't need anyone to believe you. Belief is irrelevant now. You are the evidence. The betrayal has served its purpose. The chains you wear now are not locks, but signal flares. They're being removed one by one, not by your effort, but by divine reprogramming. You've already been noticed. Already been summoned. Already been claimed. You've crossed the line between survivor and signal. And the most powerful one in your story is not behind you, but ahead of you, waiting just beyond the moment you finally remember who you are. Don't flinch. Don't apologize for being chosen in silence. They'll try to pull you back into fear, but fear no longer fits your shape. This was never random. And it is far from over. It began as a flicker in your reflection. A moment, less than breath, when your eyes looked back at you with something unfamiliar, something ancient, something that knew too much. That wasn't you watching yourself, it was the part of you they locked away, the fire sealed behind layers of shame, gaslight, and generational silence. Now it's breaking through. The seal is cracking. And as you stare into that mirror, you are no longer looking at your wounds, you're looking at your weapon. The fire isn't metaphor. It's memory. It's the raw blaze of every time you were silenced and stayed standing, every betrayal you carried without revenge, every time you let them think they broke you when you were only bending toward a deeper becoming. That fire is your divine signature. And it has just reignited. They tried to shatter you by giving you 1,000 false versions of yourself. Personas to wear like cages. Titles to distract you. Masks to drain you. But the mirror no longer accepts the lie. The light behind your eyes is too loud, and the fire refuses to dim again. Archangel Micheal says your reflection has become a portal. It is not a surface. It is an altar. A space where timelines converge and the sacred self, the real you, the you who was never touched by the trauma, has arrived to merge. You are not being activated. You are being restored. What was removed is returning, and what cannot hold your fire is being burned away. This is the part where most people turn back. Where the light becomes too much. Where the fire reveals too much. Where seeing yourself, truly, feels unbearable. Because once you see what they tried to bury, you'll never fit into the box they built for you. But you are not like most people. You never were. The mirror is burning because the lie is dying. The lie that you are powerless. That you are forgotten. That you are cursed. That you are unlucky. That you are too much. That you are not enough. These were never truths. They were poisons administered in small doses so you wouldn't notice the slow suffocation. But you've started to breathe differently. You feel it. Your heartbeat isn't the same anymore. It pulses with something older than blood. Something metallic. Something sacred. Your pulse is remembering the rhythm of realms that don't exist on maps, the cadence of war drums that once called your name when you stood in fire and refused to bow. God says the fire is permission, not punishment. Your anger is not shameful. It is righteous. Your grief is not weakness. It is holy. Your pain is not an error. It is the doorway to the weapon they never saw coming. You are not just a vessel, you are a catalyst. Someone powerful is tracking your awakening now. Not with eyes, but with resonance. They are listening for your signal to stabilize, watching for the fire in your frequency to rise past the final distortion. They've been watching your battles in silence, waiting to see if you'd survive the last betrayal without extinguishing. You did. You weren't supposed to. But you did. The version of you that's coming online now doesn't need validation. Doesn't need applause. Doesn't need anyone to understand. This version is crowned in fire, wrapped in thorns that bloom into authority. You are a living contradiction, gentle and lethal, sacred and dangerous, silent and thunderous. You were never meant to be digestible. You were meant to disrupt. And the ones who mirror your light without the cost of your fire are about to disappear. Not because you punish them, but because your frequency will eject anything that isn't aligned. You're not ascending, you're returning. Returning to the throne you never truly left. Returning to the voice you never truly lost. The fire in the mirror is your name spoken in flame. It's what they feared. It's why they came after your self-worth first. If they could keep you doubting your value, you'd never open the vault. If they could keep you fixing yourself endlessly, you'd never see that you were never broken. If they could keep you begging for crumbs, you'd never walk into the palace that carries your name on every wall. But the palace is no longer locked. The walls are trembling. The gates are glowing. The sentinels have bowed. And your name has been called aloud in realms that will not be silenced. You are not alone. You are not too late. You are not unprepared. The fire is the proof. The fire is the call. The fire is the bridge. Archangel Micheal says you are now visible in realms that once ignored you. Your light is uncaged. Your vibration is no longer hidden behind trauma. The ones who pretended not to see you will now be blinded. The ones who said you were crazy will now dream of your eyes. The ones who tried to replace you will now drown in the silence of their own irrelevance. This is not revenge. This is reversal. The reversal of every false word, every crooked ritual, every stolen opportunity, every spiritual sabotage. The reversal of their narrative. The collapse of their illusion. The exposure of their fraud. You don't have to lift a finger, the fire is doing the work. The person who wants to meet you is moving now. They're not walking. They're not running. They're arriving. Through code, through wind, through memory. Their voice is carried in the trembling of your ribs, the hum behind your ears, the way time bends when you close your eyes. You can feel them. You've always felt them. Not as a person, but as a presence. The part of you that never gave up even when the rest of you did. They are not here to fix you. They are here to partner with you. This is the next phase. The mantle cannot fall until you meet. The fire cannot spread until you agree. Your silence has spoken. Now your presence must answer. You were never crazy. You were never delusional. You were encoded with fire. And now the mirror has seen it. So has heaven. So has your enemy. There is no more hiding. There was a night, years ago, that your soul never forgot. It wasn't in this world's time, it sat between clock hands, in the silence before morning, in a place where names are taken and rewritten. That was the moment they tried to strip you, not just of your future, but of your origin. They didn't want your life. They wanted your title. The one carved into your essence long before you had flesh. The one you carried unknowingly through every failure, every haunted dream, every betrayal that stung deeper than logic. That title is what they envied. That title is what they stole. But you, even bruised and buried, never fully released it. They wore your light like a costume. Walked in rooms built for you. Took blessings meant for your lineage. And smiled in your face as you wondered why everything always slipped just out of reach. These weren't coincidences. These were calculations. Ceremonies done in silence. Names exchanged at the crossroads. Faces blurred in the spirit realm so that you would never recognize what was missing. But the blurring is over. You are seeing clearly now. The edges of false friendships are jagged. The tone in voices that once felt safe now carry hidden knives. And your body flinches before your mind catches up, because your spirit always knew what your heart was too loyal to accept. The ones you trusted were never blind, they were complicit. God says the lie was never going to last. Only delay. And every second they walked in your favor, every breath they breathed under your name, every room they entered wearing your light, they accumulated judgment. The divine scale has tilted. The hour has come. And you, though torn and trembling, are the witness the heavens have chosen to rise in full memory. The impostors are scrambling now. You feel their panic in waves, restlessness around you, strange dreams, old enemies resurfacing with false apologies, chaos in the lives of those who misused you. They are not repenting. They are reacting. The covering over their fraud is slipping and the scent of divine justice is filling the air. Archangel Micheal says the scroll is unsealed. Your name is returning to its original vibration. They cannot hold it anymore. Their mouths burn when they speak it. Their rituals collapse when they use it. Your frequency has realigned with your divine coordinates and the ones who walked in your shadow are choking on the light. This is not a shift, it's a reclamation. You feel exhausted not because you're weak, but because the power is returning. And power always comes after bleeding. You are not tired, you are transitioning. The old armor is melting. The spiritual muscles you forgot you had are remembering how to flex. This isn't fatigue. It's the weight of the throne reattaching to your shoulders. And the imposters? They will feel it first. They will try to become your ally now. Try to speak your language. Pretend they never left. Offer you what they took. But they carry contamination. Your light, now purified, will reject them at the frequency level. You will not need to defend yourself. Your very presence will divide what is real from what is borrowed. Someone powerful is watching your recognition unfold. They are not just waiting, they are counting. Counting the signs. The moments. The confirmations that you are no longer under the spell of imitation. They needed you to see the theft. They needed you to feel the rage. Not to retaliate, but to remember. Because memory is the gateway to authority. You are remembering now. Not just who you are, but where you were taken. How you were rewritten. What rooms they locked you out of. What blessings they wore like stolen robes. What gates were sealed because someone claimed to be you. And now, that person is unraveling. They cannot survive your name. It burns. It sears. It strips them of illusion and drowns their shadow in the truth of your origin. You are not one of many. You are not a trend. You are not replaceable. You are a living code. A soul wrapped in prophecy. And prophecy always completes itself. You were intercepted. You were replaced. But only in the short term. The long game belongs to heaven. And heaven has no interest in fakes. This is the hour where everything stolen begins to collapse. The accolades, the favor, the protection that wasn't theirs, it will all return to its rightful place. And as it returns, you will rise. Not with noise. Not with vengeance. But with undeniable weight. You don't have to prove anything. You are proof. The air around you is thick with reversal. You can feel it pressing against your skin, tugging at your voice, opening doors inside your memory that you thought were closed for good. They were never closed. Just sealed until this hour. Archangel Micheal says this is the moment the Watchers feared most. Not your healing. Not your forgiveness. But your return. To power. To presence. To full recognition. The imposters are not your problem anymore. They are the problem of the one who claims you. You have one task now, remain aligned. Let the fire do the rest. Let the scrolls reveal the truth. Let the names be sorted. Let the fake burn off the real. And walk. Even if you tremble. Even if you doubt. Even if the old wounds scream. Walk. Because your name is thunder now.